So, here's the real question. How do dentists like you, who aren't willing to let insurance dictate how you will run your practice, who want to create incredibly profitable practices without sacrificing your time or sanity, how do you create the strategies to ensure your practice not only survives, but thrives in the 21st century? That's the blaring question, and Dr. Steve Schalintz is here to provide the answers. Welcome to Dental Practice Freedom Radio.
What is up, everybody? This is Dr. Steve Schalintz. I want to welcome you back to another episode of Dental Practice Freedom Radio. And you may notice a difference in audio quality, and it's actually because I'm in a hotel right now. I am going to be doing a dental sales secrets team workshop on site for a dentist in Houston. I'm pumped about that. They're so much fun. The travel is interesting. I've gotten quite a few delays in the last. It's like the universe is telling you, hey, do you want to be traveling this much all the time? But it's good. It's good. I was supposed to be going from Asheville, where my practice is at, to Charlotte, and then from Charlotte to Houston. And that flight was delayed for about 5 hours, so I actually drove over to Charlotte, which is a couple hours away, hopped on the plane, and I'm over here. So I'm pumped about that. You guys, if you've ever traveled a lot and you do a lot of travel for business, on your practice, you go to a lot of CE, you know that is one of the most frustrating processes, is just flight delays and travel delays and being able to arrange things. And I've gotten a lot better at that. But that's not the reason for this podcast episode. I wanted to talk about something that I think is so vital. And it's actually one of the keys to most successful people if you study them. And I'm not going to say it's like this is the most successful, this is why I'm so successful, right? I'm still on this journey along with you guys to develop, the practice and my coaching business and what I offer and what I do and how I do it. And so this is a continual journey for me. But this is something that I see a lot, and I actually see it more in dentists than almost any other group. And I don't know why that is, other than maybe that's the nature by which we learn. But it's this idea, and I know I've talked about this, and it's like, would we just spit it out and get to the point of this podcast episode? But like, I've talked about this in the past, but I want to bring it up again because I see this over and over. It's this idea that we need so many different mentors to get where we need to go. And the reason I bring this up is I saw something the other day. It came through my email, and I'm probably like you guys, and I'll probably drop an email about this episode being released. And if you guys get a lot of emails, you go, oh my gosh, another one, right? But the reality is, I get all these different emails from all these different coaches, dental coaches, and I look at how they do things and what they do and what they're good at and what they need work on and all these things, right? So I can learn and develop. But what's interesting is I see a lot of these case acceptance or profit or whatever it is, but like there are these big master classes, and there'll be like 15 different teachers, right? And it's like, this is the master class when it comes to this, to how to increase your case acceptance, how to get patients to say yes, right? And there's like 20 different people, and I'm not calling out names, right? They're all probably great. Here's the problem with that approach, in my opinion. It's like having 15 cooks in the kitchen trying to teach you how to make a single dish. That's not how you pick a mentor, right? And so what I found is like dentists will go through this process where they have 60,000 people they're learning from, and they actually implement none of it. I see it all the time in technical training. It's where most of this problem resides, actually, is technical training, where a dentist will get technical training from 6 or 7 different quote-unquote gurus, and you go in their practice and they don't do any of it. And the reason they don't do it is they're so overwhelmed and confused and paralyzed by all the information they got that they don't implement a single thing. And so when I was thinking about that, I was like, if I was watching 16 people teach me how to increase my case acceptance, the reality is I'd probably pick none of those things to put in my practice, because they probably all don't philosophically agree with what I'm doing. And I just get confused. See, I think when you pick mentors, when you are going through that process, you got to do a couple things first. Identify what it is do I truly want, right? When I'm working with clients, and I'm working with dentists, like I have a very specific type of dentist I work with because I know that type of dentist and what they want and how I can help them get it, right? I work with dentists that are highly technically trained. They probably want to move in a more wellness-oriented direction. They want to do more TMJ, full mouth reconstructions, but they really want to create a practice that's slowed down, more fee-for-service oriented. And they got to move in that direction. If it's a practice that is like, well, I want to have 6 different locations and I want to participate with a bunch of insurance plans, I'm not going to be a fit for you. I'm not going to be a good coach, right? I don't do that. That's not my thing. But what I found is like people will get coaches and mentors that do the exact opposite of what this person's trying to create. And I'm thinking, well, why would you ever do that? And I think it's because of this level of confusion. And dentists are inherent seekers of knowledge, which is a fantastic thing. It's one of the things that I love most about us dentists, right? We're always seeking out knowledge. But that can actually be used to our detriment. Because the more you know does not necessarily mean the more you'll do with that knowledge. You have to understand there's a fundamental difference. It's called the knowing-doing gap. Knowing more does not necessarily mean doing more. And so what I encourage first is like, go figure out exactly what you're trying to accomplish and what you're doing. And then go find mentors to supplement that specific thing. So if I'm trying to develop a office that sees 3 patients a day and it's doing all on 4s and that's all they do, then I'm going to go find a dentist that does that. And then I'm going to model what they're doing because it probably works, right? This seems like common sense, but it's actually not practiced very often. And what dentists will do is they hop from mentor to mentor, right? They go from here to there to here to there. That doesn't work. I'm telling you from experience, that does not work. If you study any successful person, most likely they get knowledge from everywhere, but they study incessantly 1 or 2 mentors. There's a book by Robert Greene, not Brian Greene. Brian Greene wrote books on physics, right? Robert Greene wrote 48 Laws of Power and all of those amazing books. And he had one that was mastery, and this concept stuck with me. It's this idea, if you find a mentor, you go study that mentor, learn how to get as close to that mentor as humanly possible. If they're alive, go figure out how do I get in front of them? How do I get them to coach me? Do they have a coaching program? Go buy it, right? If they're no longer on this planet, read everything they wrote, study everything they did, and go be like a leech. Just suck as much information out of that person as humanly possible, and then implement all of it. And don't get distracted by other people. Go study that one person. And then when you get as much information as you possibly can, and you're no longer growing from that experience, then you go on to the next mentor. This is such a fundamental skill. I'm not saying you can't learn from different environments, right, and have different people that you draw from, but like you can have background information that helps you stay well-rounded and things like that. But then you go study one mentor and really dig in and say, how do I take this and apply it? How do I take this and apply it? See, if you had, let's think, for example, if you had 6 different dental consultants and they all came into your practice, what do you think your practice would look like? It'd look like a chaotic mess because you'd have 6 practice consultants that had a vision of what your practice should be, and then there's you. Same thing happens all the time when you're picking out mentors, and I feel so committed to helping you understand this, because when you find good mentors and you study them, you will accelerate your growth way beyond what you thought possible by having all these different kind of like, I call them like low level mentors, because with low level mentors, it's like they're great mentors, but you're not getting what you could possibly get out of the mentor-mentee relationship because you're not digging in deep enough. Usually the information that will transform your practice, the information that will transform your life, is beyond that superficial stuff. And if you're getting a 1-hour webinar, for example, from a coach, chances are that's not going to change your practice, right? That's just not going to do it. It's the continual work. It's the continual feedback from the mentor that's going to make the biggest impact. So, as I'm developing as a coach, right, I'm actually studying the most successful coaches outside of dentistry. What do they do? What are they putting in their membership areas? How are they marketing so that they can actually get in front of the right clients? And a lot of what they talk about, this one, I'm studying with Coach Sam Ovens right now, and he talks about this concept of focus. Listen, focus is everything in this game right now. And as a dentist, it is everything, because you can get sidetracked by every possible thing. I mean, think about how much continuing education is thrown at your face on a daily basis, right? That will distract you from actually hitting your highest point of contribution as a dentist. So you have to get focused on who are the people that are going to take me to the next level. What is the process that I'm going to have to put in place to get to the next level of my practice? Who are the people that I'm going to have to follow and study and really dig into what are they doing that's going to help me get to the next level? I can't stress this enough. I hope you guys got value out of this. It was a little pet peeve of mine because I see it. I coach enough people now to know that most people are completely lost in this process. The dentist, by and large, I've coached non-dentists as well, but dentists have so much information. You guys are so smart. But by and large, most dentists are not doing anywhere near what they're capable of doing, and most of it's confusion from too many different sources, too many different things. Like I said, clinical dentistry is by far the most relevant thing because I see it all the time. You'll have 6 different occlusal philosophies, and the dentist has no clue. They're like, I really don't know. You got to pick one and go with it, right? I always tell people with technical training, listen, I have a very specific methodology that I use to do full mouth rehabilitations, and I think it's the best by far. But I've seen people be successful in other methodologies as well, and the reason that they're successful is they've committed to the process. They've mastered it. That idea of mastery is so important. But I've seen a lot of dentists struggle is they'll actually have much more occlusion-based knowledge, but they don't do anything with it because they're confused. Picking a mentor helps clarify a lot of things for you. It'll help you get on a path a lot faster than if you have 6 or 7 different people telling you different things and you just get confused. So that's my pet peeve of the day. Hopefully you got value out of that. Pick a mentor, really stick in that mentor-mentee relationship, learn as much as you can. Provide value for the mentor as well. Like that's the other part of the equation. It may not even be a mentor that you pay. They might not have a coaching program. They might have a mastermind. They might have not have any of those things, but you can provide value in other ways, right? Find ways to help your mentor, because when you do that, it creates a win-win situation and then everybody is happy. So I can't stress enough this concept. Thank you so much for listening. If you guys could do me a huge favor, if you're getting value out of this podcast, it would mean the world to me if you leave a rating and a review. There's going to be a link in the bio for this episode as well. If you are interested in learning more about dental sales secrets and how I can help you take your practice to the next level, I would love to have a call with you. I do complimentary coaching calls to just see, can I even help you? And if I can, what capacity does that look like? So you guys are the best. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you at the next episode.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode on Dental Practice Freedom Radio with Dr. Steve Schlitz. We'll see you on the next episode.